Tonight, the travel mess set to get worse this week, but at the Capitol, late-breaking talks that could end this government shutdown in days. At airports, thousands of flights canceled, thousands more delayed as the FAA cuts back air travel because of the shutdown, and the number of trips affected set to spike soon. Plus, the new warning about Thanksgiving travel right around the corner. Here in Washington, the most movement we've seen yet that may bring both sides closer to a deal to reopen the government. What sources are telling our team late today. And as Republicans face growing pressure, President Trump flying over a football game today and floating $2,000 payments to many Americans. A wintry blast for parts of the country. Look at these cars spinning off the road. Whiteout conditions there as heavy snow falls in the Midwest and millions more on alert for freezing temperatures. Just in tonight, a baseball betting bombshell. Two major leaguers charged in an alleged scheme to rig bets on their own pitches. Remembering a former NFL commissioner and how he helped reshape the league for millions of viewers and for players. Overseas, a show of unity from the royal family without Andrew after he was stripped of his title for his ties to Jeffrey Epstein. And here at home, new fallout from Ghislaine Maxwell's emails from behind bars. The potentially game-changing one-time treatment that could cut your cholesterol levels in half for good. And there's good news tonight about a former NFL player's new beginning off the field.
This is NBC Nightly News with Hallie Jackson.
Good evening. We are coming on the air tonight with what looks like the most movement yet towards an end to the government shutdown, but still a ways away from a real deal that would get things back up and running, including at the nation's airports. You see the long lines here. Look at that. Up to 2-hour delays in some spots. Some 2,000 flights canceled today, more than 8,000 delayed, partly because of new flight restrictions in place to try to lighten the load on air traffic controllers. They're among more than 1 million federal employees working without pay during the shutdown. And tonight, what may be a glimmer of hope. Senators with a rare Sunday night huddle. As multiple sources tell NBC News, both sides are considering a deal to reopen the government. We have team coverage tonight, starting with Shaq Brewster in Chicago.
Massive travel disruptions and new warnings as the government shutdown drags on.
The 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, you're going to see air travel be reduced to a trickle.
More than 2,000 flights canceled today, surging nationwide since the middle of last week with no end in sight. More than 8,000 delays.
My flight got canceled today.
The Trump administration ordering even deeper flight restrictions this week, directing airlines to cut 6% of flights at 40 major airports by Tuesday, 10% by Friday, in an effort to ease the strain on air traffic controllers who have been working without pay.
The flight is delayed 7 hours, and my connecting flight in Atlanta is now canceled till 7 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Other passengers facing long waits before security and on the tarmac, hearing messages like this.
I appreciate you bearing with us tonight and just going through the staffing shortages, etc.
Air traffic control staffing shortages causing a temporary ground stop today at Newark, where the FAA reports delays there averaged more than 2 hours. An Airlines for America analysis found staffing shortages contributed to 71% of delays Saturday, warning of secondary impacts from missed connections to crews timing out.
The impact that this is having on everybody is just a nightmare.
And with Thanksgiving quickly approaching, families are already shuffling their plans.
My dad was going to come in for Thanksgiving, he's already canceled his flight, and he's just going to drive because he doesn't want to deal with this.
Shaquille Brewster is joining us live from O'Hare in Chicago. And Shaq, even if Congress were to get to a deal on ending the shutdown, it's not as though the airport delays would stop immediately, right?
That's exactly right, Hallie. Both Delta and Southwest Airlines say that they have already made those cancellations mandated by the FAA through Tuesday, rebooking or refunding those passengers. Meanwhile, the Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy, says that those retirements among air traffic controllers have only accelerated during this shutdown, meaning passengers may be feeling the effects of it long after the government reopens. Hallie?
Shaquille Brewster live for us in Chicago. Thank you. And as that government shutdown snarls flights, here in Washington, some late developments tonight with the most action yet on talks to make a deal with senators at work on a Sunday. But any kind of final agreement could take days, if it happens at all. Here's Yamiche Alcindor.
Tonight, the longest government shutdown in American history could be coming to an end. After 40 days, a preliminary compromise is being discussed, and both parties in the Senate are expected to accept it, according to 3 Capitol Hill sources, 1 Republican and 2 Democrats.
We're still working on some small issues, but we expect to probably vote this early evening on getting on the bill, and then we expect that to pass.
The new bill would fund the government through January 30th and could include a guaranteed separate vote on the expiring Affordable Care Act subsidies that Democrats want to extend. Those subsidies have been at the crux of the shutdown stalemate. If the deal passes in the Senate, its next stop would be the House. President Trump would also have to be on board. He's attending the Commanders-Lions NFL game tonight in Washington.
Our stock market hit an all-time high. Prices are coming down. We inherited a mess. Prices are coming way down.
Pressure has been mounting on the president and his party, as recent polling showed more Americans blame Republicans for the shutdown. This weekend, the president floated the idea of giving Americans cash for health care costs and $2,000 checks as tariff dividends. But the Treasury Secretary later said the health care plan wasn't formal. Millions of Americans have felt the crunch of high expenses, especially those who rely on government food assistance programs. Overnight, the Trump administration demanded states immediately undo any steps taken to provide full SNAP benefit payments or face financial penalties. 70-year-old Patricia Brooks never got her SNAP payment this month.
It's very unfair. They're using politics, to do all this, and it's affecting people.
Yamiche is joining us now from the White House. So, Yamiche, what does all this back and forth mean for the millions of Americans who rely on that SNAP assistance to get by?
It means more confusion for people who rely on SNAP to feed themselves and their families. And even if this deal to end the shutdown passes in the Senate, it would then need to also pass in the House, and that could take days, even though Republican leaders are already talking about bringing back House lawmakers on Wednesday, according to a leadership aide. Hallie?
Much to watch this week. Yamiche Alcindor at the White House. Thank you. Parts of the Midwest are on alert tonight for up to 1.5 feet of snow, with an Arctic blast on the way for many of us. Priscilla Thompson reports.
The Midwest tonight seeing its first major snowfall of the season. In northwest Indiana today, multiple cars stranded in ditches. Even this pickup truck getting stuck, forced to be towed back onto the highway. The area seeing nearly 5 inches of snow, causing dangerous driving conditions.
We're looking at the potential for a bullseye.
The Chicago area bracing for a Monday morning nightmare, with heavy lake effect snow set to slam the city. Some areas in Illinois and Indiana could see 1.5 feet of lake effect snow. The ground blanketed in white from the Dakotas to Maine. In Michigan's Upper Peninsula, nearly 11 inches already on the ground. Last night's Notre Dame Navy game turning into a snow globe. Meanwhile, in Texas, a flash flood watch in effect in this Moscow neighborhood, about 75 miles outside of Houston, after a privately owned dam started releasing water from an 8-inch hole.
How worried are you right now?
Very, because my grandchildren are here, and they're less than 1/4 mile from what could be imminent danger.
And tonight, dozens of residents in these homes, which officials say could flood if that dam fails, are being urged to evacuate. Hallie?
Priscilla Thompson, thank you. For more, let's bring in meteorologist Brant Miller from our NBC Chicago station. And Brant, this really is just the beginning of that cold snap, right?
And it's a cold snap, Hallie, that is short-lived, but it's going to be a mess. Increasing lake effect snow bands, intense lake effect snow in excess of 3 inches an hour, even thunder snow, very cold air over a still warm Great Lakes, and downwind from the lakes. That's where that lake effect snow will accumulate. Heavy rainfall across the north and east. Snowfall totals, excessive numbers. Look at these. Already we're looking at the potential for close to 1 foot or more of snow on the southern tip of Lake Michigan, and that goes for the eastern side of all of the Great Lakes as the system wraps up. Cold air, freeze alerts, 71 million at risk all the way down to the Gulf Coast. The good news, temperatures moderate as we move into next week. But look at these numbers for Monday morning. Hallie?
Chilly for those folks down south. Brant Miller, thank you. To the sports world and another big league betting controversy, this time involving baseball, after 2 pitchers were charged in an alleged scheme to rig their own games. Stephen Romo has today's new developments.
Tonight, a bombshell rocking the baseball world with an explosive new indictment unsealed today, charging 2 Cleveland Guardians pitchers in connection with an alleged bet-rigging scheme.
I think it's huge. First reaction was shock.
Prosecutors say Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz intentionally threw balls instead of strikes on certain pitches in exchange for bribes or kickbacks from sports bettors. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of New York saying it started as early as May 2023, first with Clase before Ortiz joined. The pair are charged with conspiracy, fraud, bribery, and more. Prosecutors writing in part that the players illegally enriched themselves and their co-conspirators misled the public and betrayed America's pastime.
They undermine the integrity of the sport as a whole. And if people break the most widely known rule in all of baseball, they should suffer the consequences.
The Guardian saying we will continue to fully cooperate in the investigation. Major League Baseball writing our investigation is ongoing. This comes on the heels of other gambling scandals like last month's arrest of a Portland Trail Blazers coach and Miami Heat guard for alleged poker and betting schemes. Authorities say both Clase and Ortiz have been on paid leave since July when the investigation started. Today, Ortiz's attorney releasing a statement denying the charges and vowing to fight the case. NBC News has reached out to Clase's team but have not yet heard back. On Monday, the players will make their first appearance in federal court for a hearing. Stephen Romo, NBC News.
Also tonight, so many in the NFL and beyond are remembering the life of former Commissioner Paul Tagliabue, who has died at the age of 84, according to his family. Tagliabue, who had developed Parkinson's, led the league for 17 seasons throughout the 90s and early 2000s, a period that saw the league expand. The current NFL commissioner, Roger Goodell, today called Tagliabue the ultimate steward of the game. Overseas now, and a show of unity from the royal family today, appearing together for the first time since King Charles stripped his brother, Andrew, of his royal titles because of ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Danielle Hamamjian reports.
It was a royal show of force on one of the most important days of the family's calendar. King Charles, Prince William, and the British royal family gathering for Remembrance Sunday, with an exception that surprised no one. The King's brother Andrew absent once again, as he's been for years, amid the fallout from his links to Jeffrey Epstein. Today, the family appearing all together for the first time since the King delivered the final blow to his younger brother, stripping him of the title of Prince. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, as he's now known, was asked this week to appear before the U.S. Congress. House Oversight Democrats requesting he sit for a transcribed interview as they investigate allegations of abuse against him. As a British citizen, Andrew cannot be forced to appear before the committee and has always denied any wrongdoing. But he has in the past acknowledged his friendship to Ghislaine Maxwell. After being convicted for her role in recruiting minors to be sexually assaulted by Epstein, Maxwell is now serving a 20-year sentence in a Texas camp following an abrupt and controversial transfer from a low-security facility in Florida, a move that was criticized by abuse survivors. In emails obtained by the House Judiciary Committee and reviewed exclusively by NBC News, Maxwell told friends and family it's new and improved in almost every regard, and that she's much happier here. Danielle Hamamjian, NBC News.
Also in the UK, 2 BBC executives are resigning today after criticism over how President Trump's January 6th speech was edited in a documentary. The BBC said Director General Tim Davie and Head of News Deborah Turness both decided to leave the network days after backlash began to build. Still ahead tonight, a possible medical breakthrough. One treatment, one time, that could cut cholesterol in half for good. We're back with what could be a game changer in a health fight affecting millions of people. New preliminary research shows a one-time treatment could potentially cut your cholesterol levels in half for good. Erica Edwards reports.
Tonight, major potential in the fight against heart disease. A single dose of a drug that makes a tiny change to one gene, showing promise in driving down dangerous levels of cholesterol for good.
This would be a one-time dose to hopefully control your cholesterol
across your entire lifetime.
Scientists tested an infusion treatment that genetically alters a gene in the liver so it stops boosting cholesterol. The study from CRISPR Therapeutics was small, just 15 people. All participants had high levels of LDL cholesterol and triglycerides that can clog arteries, leading to heart attacks and stroke. 4 people got the highest dose. Within 2 months, their cholesterol plummeted by half.
Why is this important, this new technology?
If it works, it really helps take the burden of pills off the patient.
The experimental treatment could someday help people like 40-year-old Jennifer Leasty. She takes 5 medications to keep her sky-high cholesterol in check.
I still feel young. The thought that I am on that much medication really bothers me.
Experts warn it could be more than a decade before a treatment like this could be available. It still needs FDA approval.
Once we can establish long-term safety, then I certainly think we should become more excited. If you can treat high cholesterol very early, you may even prevent the development of cardiovascular disease in the first place.
A promising first step in the fight against America's leading cause of death. Erica Edwards, NBC News.
When we come back, there is good news tonight about the power of a fresh start in an unfamiliar field. There is good news tonight about one NFL player finding a new fan base, even after leaving the field. John Malecki's making more than just furniture at this warehouse outside Pittsburgh.
So we're going to build a brand new bed.
He's also building a following.
So I got into woodworking and building things because I grew up in a blue-collar family. I'm going to alleviate some of the pressure.
Making a name for himself with videos like this one.
I mean, we're going to burn this place down, but it's working, baby. Let's go! Whoa! Yes! Woo!
Demonstrating how to make everything from cutting boards to fireplaces.
Over here, we should be able to rip and just
to fancy dog houses.
I think it looks absolutely insane. We take a lot of pride in being able to provide joy and happiness to our audience.
And it's a different audience than he was used to in his last career. There he is playing football for the University of Pittsburgh. And here, number 62 on the Pittsburgh Steelers. But after 4 years on the gridiron, now turning to an unfamiliar field for his next chapter.
My roommate at the time had a party, broke the coffee table in the house, and I felt inspired to try and build or fix it. That's actually when I started building things.
In his work now, less blocking, more chopping. But he still has an audience, a big one. Fans who may not know him as an athlete, but as an influencer in the woodworking world, with more than 2 million subscribers across his YouTube channels.
Dreams do change. Things do happen that are out of your control. What you can do, though, is take away the good parts from that learning experience.
That experience helping him believe in himself.
Pow!
And the new beginning he's been building.
I loved being a teammate. If you could find that alignment in the rest of your life, you can go really far. You can impact a ton of lives, and you can have a lot of fun and enjoy doing it.
And he sure is. That is Nightly News for this Sunday. And speaking of the Steelers, you'll find him on Sunday Night Football up next, taking on the Chargers. Tom will be back tomorrow. I'm Hallie Jackson. For all of us here at NBC, thanks for watching and have a great week.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.